Hello everyone, I'm Phoenix Tremayne, and this is my review of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, episode 14, Prayed Up. In this episode, I was actually very surprised because normally it's the Kenya show, but this time we actually got the Porsha show, which is a little bit weird because Porsha typically is the odd woman out. She doesn't fit in with anybody. She's the girl who is too young. She doesn't look like she'd be any of these ladies' friends. I mean, case in point, when she was arguing with Kenya, and she was using her age as her get back line, and all the other girls, they're around the same age or older. So, they're like, even Kandi was like, if she had said that to me, I would have had a problem too. So this actually turned out to be the Porsche episode, which was a pleasant surprise because you don't usually get to. I'm Kenya'd out. Usually the episode starts with talking about Kenya and ends with Kenya. So I was shocked to see that Porsche didn't come out and start bitching about Kenya. I don't even think she mentioned Kenya the whole episode. But this episode starts with her and her mother and her sister. She's trying on dresses for Kordell, her husband's 40th birthday. And the theme is Harlem Nights. The first dress she comes out in is like a really bad prom dress. She just looks stupid in that dress. No, that's something an 18-year-old should wear. And I know she's like 30 or somewhere around there, so it wasn't a good look. Her second dress, I guess, was a little more stylish, but it had like this fur dress with like the fur bottom. And I know people are going to love it because it probably looks better in real life. But I wasn't really feeling the fur bottom. I don't know. The last dress was hot. She looked really good in it. It definitely fit her body. It was sexy. Her mother even told her, like in the first dress, no, you're not even showing that much. You're not even showing any cleavage. So her mother knows that, bitch, you ain't got a baby. You don't have a way to hold on to this man. So you need to make sure that he's not looking at any other woman. She didn't use those words, but that's what she was saying. And then, we get to Phaedra and Kandi, and so back to Kenya. So in the last episode, Kenya wore a see-through swimsuit that Phaedra wore in Anguilla, and it was to make a point that, bitch, you're crazy too. And I thought it was a funny moment. I loved it. And Kandi was ready to talk about it with Phaedra, who was brushing it off like, oh, she's just a fan. It's not a big deal. And Kandi wants the dirt. She wants camera time. She wants to get into it. But Phaedra just totally sidesteps it. Then, of course, we finally get to Kenya. Last episode was probably the only time I really like Kenya. Every once in a while she does something a little outrageous that I think is funny. But I'm not a Kenya fan. I'm trying to enjoy her antics on the show. I still say I like Marlo better. But Kenya does bring a lot to the show, and part of what she brings is bad acting. So I know cancer is a huge deal, especially for women, breast cancer. And I would hate to say that I didn't believe her, but I don't. And I would hate it to be real and her to really be opening herself up on camera, and someone like me comes along and is like, oh, bitch, you faked it. But, bitch, I think you faked it. So I think that maybe Kenya has been so out of control that maybe she's trying to take control of her image and maybe get some sympathy, make people feel sorry for her. I don't know what that was about. But if you've been watching my reviews, you know I'm a producer. I've done casting for 20 years. I've directed a lot of actors, and I've seen them try to cry. I've given them wasabi. I've given them onions. You know, I've coached them on thinking about the worst moment of your life or something like your child died. You know, think about that. You know, what would happen if your child died? Something to well you up to get you to cry. Kenya was trying so hard to cry or just be broken up, and she's just frowning and looking ugly. And, you know, and I'm not saying Kenya's ugly. I'm saying when she frowns, she's an ugly frown. And so I'm watching this episode, and I'm thinking to myself, this is reality TV. So if Kenya really had cancer, then I sincerely doubt she would get her diagnosis on television. 9 times out of 10, the nurse and the doctor and everybody we saw would have already done the diagnosis and would have known in advance what the diagnosis would be. So maybe she did find 3 lumps, because, you know, a diva can't just have one. You know, a lot of women, they find 1 lump and like, oh shit. Well, Kenya found 3. So, yeah, that happened. Porsha, okay, this had me right here. I thought Porsha's family came from money, had a foundation. I don't know. Like, I thought she married rich, but she also had a background where she may have been a little affluent. And then there's her sister. So here's the deal. Porsha goes to this mansion with her sister, you know, I guess, you know, to have a party. They're looking at different mansions with a realtor where they want to have their party. And her sister's wearing these booty shorts, like, you know, booty shorts. And look like people I grew up with. You know, she looked like straight from the hood. I'm just going to say it. So, I mean, the whole scene was just ratchet. You know, her sister comes out in, I guess they're these Ugg boots or something. I'm not big on fashion. You know, the other day, I still don't know what a perm is, but I kind of sort of think I know what a perm is. There's certain things I just don't, I know you're probably laughing at me because I don't know what a perm is. You know, but, well, this girl was a hot mess. And then, compounding it, she brought a kid. A screaming, screeching baby. So here you are, you know, being Miss Porsha, trying to be fabulous. You're on TV. Your sister walk into the scene like, bitch, don't know she gonna be on TV. And then, you know, you bring this screaming, crying baby that was just ghetto as fuck. What? No. You don't have babysitters. You don't have something. I don't know. Take the baby off camera. This shit was just fucked up. I always say, if you're going to be on TV, bitch, make sure you look like you're going to be on TV. You know, Porsha should have grabbed a dress out of her closet and been like, here, put this on. So, okay. Next was Cynthia. Cynthia is still throwing together this half-ass pageant. Now, I mentioned in my last review that I was offered to put together a pageant. And when I really saw what went into it, I was like, no, because the person wanted me to literally throw it together in a short period of time. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do this. This is a lot of work if you want to do it right. And if you watch shows like Toddlers and Tiaras, you know that, a lot goes into a pageant. And if these mothers, these pageant moms walk into the hotel and they see that it looks like who did it and why, the stage, they have a fucking fit. Some of these mothers might spend $10,000 getting their daughters together, and they're not looking for who did it and why. Now, Cynthia used to be one of my favorites. She kind of latches on to Nene, to stay, in the favor of the light. And then, now she's kind of like teaming up with Kenya, because she knows what side her bed's brought it on. And I like Cynthia because she's a bitch, but sometimes she's a good bitch and sometimes she's a bad bitch. I'm not for bullies. I don't like, divas. I like a good diva that's fun, but she's becoming that bad diva that kind of had in my productions that drive me crazy. In my contracts now, I actually have something that I've called the diva clause. Cynthia would definitely have to fill out this diva clause. But she sets Porsha up. She gets her with her Bailey boys. There's these 3 guys in her agency. These 3 queens. And before Porsha gets there, she tells them, well, we're supposed to meet at Porsha's house. But, she didn't want strangers in her home. Like, she didn't know you. And the guys are like, what? So they get them highly offended. So she pretty much, I didn't use exact words, but close enough. But she pretty much lit the fuse so that when Porsha walked through that door, those queens were going to let her have it. So, and they did. And so Porsha comes in her sweet, bubbly Porsche-ness, and these guys let her have it, and she tries to give it back just a little teeny bit. Like, she's like, what? What's going on? And in her confessional, she's like, I just wanted to leave. I felt like I was being attacked. And she was. Cynthia's sitting back smiling. I'm like, bitch, you asked her for help. Porsha's not there. She's not on a salary. She's not getting paid. She's doing this out of the kindness of her heart. And Cynthia's acting like she's a spoiled employee who's not doing her job. And I really felt like she was being bullied, and they really jumped on her. And Cynthia's whole thing was, look, I wanted your foundation to be a part of this. I've asked for some paperwork, and it's been, I think, 2 weeks, and I still haven't gotten it. Here's my thing. I'm torn because I understand where Cynthia's coming from. She, like me, has given people tasks, almost like to test them to see if they do it. When they don't do it, it's like what time it is. You let them go. You just break contact. You do whatever, and you keep it moving because your production's the most important thing. But Porsha's a special case because Porsha's not sitting in some office. She's being the wife of a millionaire. She's being Porsha. So she's not the one that you're supposed to talk to and try to deal with. She needs to take one of those Bailey boys and contact whoever's Porsha's assistant is, whoever's the secretary at the foundation. And there needs to be communication on that level. You don't go to the head of the corporation to get menial work done and then be upset because somebody who's meant to do the menial work doesn't do it. Yes, Porsha's supposed to say, this is what I need, this is what I need to get done. Porsha doesn't put the paperwork together and do it herself. So to me, it's sort of messy business where, moving on. Also want to say Cynthia did seem a little bit green in this episode when Porsha gets a phone call from her help at the house, and she has to say what's going on in the house. I need you to do this, I need you to do that. She just wants to make sure that things get done, and that that's what she does. That's she's got to keep order in her home and keep things running smoothly. She doesn't have any kids, so Cynthia's looking green with envy because Peter spent all her fucking money, and they're just struggling to get back on top again, and the guys did get on Porsha and tell her, look, I thought we were supposed to have this at your house, but you didn't want us there. And Porsha's like, my husband's out of town, and he doesn't like strange men in a house that he doesn't know. Because, let's face it doesn't matter they're all gay. It doesn't matter that, they ain't going to try to fuck her. but it don't mean that he won't come to the house and all the fucking silverware is gone. You know, you just don't let anybody in your house. I don't just let anybody in my house. I shot a scene years ago at one of my actresses' house. She was gracious enough to let us use it. I thought I knew everybody. There was different degrees in which I've known people. Her husband left a watch in the bathroom, and she called me up and said somebody stole a watch. I could not think of who would even be a prime suspect because I thought I knew all of these actors that were there, and I didn't think that any of them would steal, but they did. So, no, you don't just let any motherfucker up in your shit. So, moving on. Porsha and Kordell playing basketball. Now, in the trailer for this episode from last week, Super Bowl, so 2 weeks ago, Kordell was like, you handle it. When Porsha's trying to tell him about her fight with Cynthia, he's like, no, you handle it. And Porsha's like, but no, you need to set her straight right now. And I thought it was kind of harsh in the episode, and I just really was like for the trailer. But then when I actually saw the episode, then I was like, oh, okay, I get this. I didn't understand based on that little clip of what Kordell was doing. And I've never really liked Kordell because he hasn't really had a storyline on the show. But I actually liked him this episode because growing up, when you're in the hood and, if you were to be bullied on the playground, there's family members that would say, you need to handle that. And you're scared you're going to get your ass beat, but your family's like, nope. If you don't handle this shit, when you come home, you're going to get beat again. So they kind of force you to take charge and at least try to fight. And if you lose, then you'll have like 10, 15 cousins come running down the street, to bank the motherfucker. That's how I grew up. So I could really relate to what he was doing and understand that he pretty much feels like, look, I didn't marry a little girl. I married a grown-ass woman, and I need you to be this grown-ass woman that I married. And everybody knows that Kordell seems to be like more of a father to Porsha. So, it was really nice to see that he's trying to say, okay, I'm the king of this castle. It's time you act like the queen. And I like that. And that's what Cynthia needs from Peter. But, Peter knows what side of his bread is buttered on. Let me see. Kandi's in the studio. And she's worried about gaining weight because when you fall in love, you get fat and happy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not in love. I ain't been in love in like 10 years. But I have gained weight due to an accident. So now I'm working out really hard because I'm doing my fitness show. So you see that? See that? Yeah. There we go. That's the business. So I'm working out really hard for my fitness show. And I understand where Kandi's coming from because there's so many reasons why you could gain weight. And mine was for medical reasons. And hers is because she's getting fat and happy. And she's worried about it because she's still in. And her boyfriend calls, soon to be fiance calls, and she just stops everything to talk to him. And that's what you do when you're in love. You just kind of put everything to the side, just like that person's all that matters in that moment. And been there, done that. Canceled fucking productions just to be with some bitch whose name I wouldn't remember 2 weeks later. That's in my 20s. I'm not in my 20s anymore. I know better than that, so that bitch should know better than that. But she finally found a man. She tells him, look, hey, I'm on the phone. I'm on a meeting. I will talk to you later. And then by the end of the scene, he calls back. That's either pussy whipped or controlling. I don't know which one it is yet, but, he needs to chill the fuck out. Unless it's an emergency, something happened to her daughter, chill the fuck out. And she's on TV too. So it gets to Kandi talking about she wants to do a gospel record. Now, Kandi can sing, Kandi can produce, Kandi can write. But gospel record? I'm not a gospel fan, but the only thing I'm envisioning is the people that I know that are gospel fans and church heads, whatever you want to call them. I'm not talking about the person who goes to church passively, but the person who goes to church aggressively is going to be saying the woman who sells dildos and vibrators, the woman who is having sex out of wedlock, the woman who is, on TV talking about her sexual exploits, where he has a radio show, Candy Coated Nights, dedicated to fucking how to fuck, who you done fucked, is now slipping over onto the side of gospel. Okay. So, I'm not saying that the music wouldn't be good, but compounding the situation, she's like, she doesn't want the song to be too churchy. So, what? I understand what she means. She doesn't want the organ-type church music. She wants more, of the pop church music. But I think that she really needs to have the more churchy church music just because of her image. She needs to cleanse people's palates and give them what they're familiar with and then mix it with a little bit of the pop. Because when I heard the guy demonstrating, what he think the song should sound like, he actually sounded good. I mean, I liked it. And like I said, I don't listen to a lot of gospel music, but I liked it. And then when she's like, no, and they're all having fun, and then she starts singing her Prayed Up or whatever. Oh, that shit was awful. That was terrible. I know it's not the finished song, but that shit was ratchet. That shit was wrong. Kandi, you're almost ready for strike 2. That album you released was sucked. So now we got this shit, and I don't like what I see. After we get Porsha and Cynthia discuss the animosity. So Kordell's like, look, woman, handle your shit. Be a woman with your shit. Deal with this shit. And then he probably fucked the shit out of her. Because that's what I would have done. I'm like, handle your shit. And then I would have threw over that pool and I would have fucked her. Made her feel like a bitch. And then make me a sandwich. I'm laughing because it's true. And so Porsha goes to Cynthia, and she's like ready to let Cynthia have it. She's like, sits there and we need to talk. And then Cynthia's like, your services are no longer required. I don't think we should be doing this. And Porscha's like, it's like fucking Scooby-Doo. And her confession, she's like, no, she did not just fire me. Porsha goes there to let Cynthia have it, and Cynthia just like, that's why I like Cynthia. Cynthia was being a bitch and a diva, but in a good way. I don't know if Cynthia kind of got the feeling of knowing what was about to happen, and she beat her to the punch. Like, you can't quit something when you've been fired. So I see a lot of gay diva in Cynthia, and it's fun to watch, and that was a fun scene. So I like that. And then Cynthia did something even a little raunchier in the episode by showing up at Kordell's birthday party after firing the bitch. That's several degrees of shade. So even the hat she wore was a little shady. Like, I like Cynthia. I don't like some of the things Cynthia has done as far as like coming off as like a bully to me, but that was fun. That was fun to watch. So we get to Kordell's birthday party, and these people are not stupid. The birthday party is sponsored. You see the whole wall full of sponsors. So, hey, let's say you spend $100,000 on a party. Shit, don't let the shit come out your pocket. You know, have sponsors. Hey, we're in the Housewives of Atlanta. You know, so it looked pretty decent. I still haven't seen a party in Atlanta that made me go, wow. It was okay. I don't know, maybe it's the lighting. It wasn't full enough for me. It wasn't Renaissance enough for me. It wasn't Harlem enough for me. You know, but like I said, everybody's dressed up. Porsha, turns out she wore both dresses. On the show, she only wore one. But if you look at the pictures of the party online, you'll see she wore both of the dresses, the fur bottom and the one I liked, which was the more elegant, sexy one, old Hollywoodish. And in this scene, like I said, Cynthia shows up, and Walter showed up. I was so happy to see Walter, because Walter actually turned out to be one of my favorite characters on the show, but without Kenya, there's no way to really keep him on the show. But I really enjoyed, you know, Walter's time on the show, so it was nice to see him back. And Kordell pulls Cynthia to the side. Now, when Cynthia and Peter arrives, Porsha looks like she got bitch slapped, like somebody took a raw piece of fish and slapped her across the face, like, no, you did not just come in my party after you fired me. And then, you know, Porsha, being a Southern belle, just kind of gives her kisses and doesn't even acknowledge that anything happened, and she kind of walks away. So Peter and Cynthia, everything's good. And then, of course, Kordell, being a man, sits Cynthia down, and she's like, he's like, look, you acting a fool. I hate it when you women, you know, doing all these games and get into these fights, and it's just silly. And he sits her down like a father talking to his daughter. It's like, you know, and Cynthia's like, what's going on? Peter's laughing his ass off. They showed him slightly, they pan the can over. Peter's over here laughing. You know, Cynthia looked like 2 seconds for help from Peter, so that wasn't going to work. You know, so Cynthia just sort of like sat down and took it. You know, because there's a lot of women out there who feel like, you know, if a man wants their respect, they're going to have to take it. So you can't let them do whatever they want to do, say what they want to say, and go off. Some women, as sad as it may sound, have told me, I just want a man to just like put me in my place. You know, he don't have to beat the shit out of me, but, you know, pop. One quick pop, and I know that, you know, I can't get away with nothing, I'm good. You know, so these are real conversations I've had. So it's like, there are women like that, and I got a feeling Cynthia's the kind of woman that if you don't put her in check, she gonna run all over you, and, you know, you just gonna be fucked up. So that's why I think Peter ain't gonna get no pussy. So, then Porsha comes over, and Kordell sits her down, and he makes them talk it out, and he pretty much squashes the beef. He comes in like the king of the castle, and Cynthia in her confessional is like, you know, he's definitely the king, you know, and, you know, he act like he was my father. Yeah, bitch, that's what you needed. So, you know, Cynthia ain't ready for Kordell. And she tried to call him controlling, but bitch, you need to be controlled. So we get back to Kenya, and, you know, the doctor is like, you know, your results are back, and of the 3 tumors that we found, or the lumps that we found, you know, 2 didn't have cancer. And they go, oh, now this is how you know that the shit was fake. Okay, let me put it out there like this. This is how you know the shit was fake. I rolled my eyes in the beginning of the episode when she started talking about cancer and how she lost so much, and she mentions Walter, and we all know that shit was fake. So it was like, how can I take you seriously when you're talking about your fake relationship with this man devastated you? Okay, that's strike 1, 2, and 3. And then at the end of the episode, you know, her doctor does a dramatic pause. That's why I know the shit was faked and done for television. Because then when it comes to the third one, and then the third one, there was this long ass pause, like this drum roll, you know, type feeling. And it's like, you know, you're waiting to find out who's the next American Idol. And they're all just standing there, you know, trying to find out who's the next Dance with the Stars. It's like, you know, if you ever watch any of those shows, they take fucking forever to announce the winner. And then she's like, you know, it's benign. Shocker! It's not cancer. Wow. We didn't know. So I know there's some dumb bitch watching the show going, oh my god, just can you have cancer? I hope she don't, no, just read, no. I'm not even sure it was a real doctor and nurse. But anyway, next episode, I think my predictions will come true. Cynthia got Boris Kojo to be the MC at her pageant, and he's calling out the wrong names of the girls. You know, Kenya's a judge, and she's like, this is a disaster. Kind of what I expected. But I have a feeling it's going to be one of those kitchen nightmare moments where they always have the disaster before the triumph. And Nene's back, and Kandi's doing gospel with Marlon, whatever his name is, Sack, and her dad. So the only thing I see, I'm looking forward to is see if the pageant is as ratchet as I think it's going to be, and hopefully Porsha's there to snicker. So that's it for that. And now I want to talk to you about a few other things I'm doing. I think you know that I'm doing the show Everyday Fitness for Everyday People. Yes, I did jump up and show you my calves and made some muscles for you. You can't see my chest, but I've been bench pressing like a motherfucker. So my chest is like, look like I'm feeling like a fucking woman. But, you know, I'm trying to show you the circumference of me having bench pressing and getting my chest like, shit's heavy. You know, it's muscle. But, you know, trying to get myself ready for Everyday Fitness for Everyday People. But I have people on my show, models, bodybuilders, so they'll be demonstrating exercises too, along with me and a few others. And I'm going to show you some clips of Everyday Fitness for Everyday People. I'm going to show you some clips of the Stalker Files. Ever since my hard drive disaster, I had to reshoot some scenes. So I'm going to put in some clips from the Stalker Files. So subscribe, join me on Facebook, join me on Twitter, you know, Tumblr, follow me on Tumblr. I update that shit every day, almost several hours, you know, every other, like, I'm addicted. So I will see you soon, and later.